Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Toledo. Now would be a great time to check in on your social media, let them know that you're at a Rotary meeting, and then be sure to turn your ringers down. If while Dr. Durant is presenting today, you hear something of interest, please be sure to video it and get it out there so that we can share the message that he's sharing. Before we get started, I'd like to welcome some special guests that are in the audience today. We have with us today some dignitaries. If I say your name, can you please stand? Former Mayors Mike Bell, Cardi Finkbeiner, and Donna Owens. Councilwomen Dr. Cecilia Adams, Vanessa Williams, Sandra McPherson, Dr. Tiffany Whitman, and Teresa Morris. And Councilmen John Hobbs and Nick Comives. Can we please give them a round of applause? Thank you for joining us today. At this time, I'd like to ask Pastor Randall Parker to come to the podium to deliver a reflection, as well as the young men and women of excellence to come to the front of the stage, and they will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, your wisdom, and support as we begin this time. Help us engage in meaningful discussions and allow us to grow closer and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that impact many, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Can the young men and women of excellence come up to the front, please? Thank you, Pastor Parker, and all of the young men and women of excellence. Fabulous job. I'd like to thank Max Reddish with the Danbury Realty Company for being our April sponsor. And at this time, if Michelle Klinger can go to the floor mic, she's going to lead us in the four-way test and give us an update on the four-way test speech contest. So don't get too comfortable because we all got to stand again.
Are we on? Are we on? Okay. Whew. Yes, we are. Okay.
Please rise.
Yes. The four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Please be seated.
And Rotary Club of Toledo likes to do things a little bit different. So our four-way speech contest is not the typical test where we're asking students to do a 5-minute speech or a longer speech, but ours is closer to a TikTok length. So we're asking students to put together a 90-second speech using the Rotary Club of Toledo and the Rotary four-way test, and submit it here to Jackie at Rotary. And then the Vocational Services Committee and Friends, I'll say, is taking on the job of evaluating those tests and selecting a winner. So I want to give you a little bit of information. There are cash awards for students who will be recognized for winning the awards. First place is $400, second place is $200, third place is $100. This is open to all high school students in grades 9 through 12. And I encourage you to reach out to Jackie or one of the members of the Vocational Services Committee. We would be happy to send you this flyer and information. Any student, again, in high school, grades 9 through 12, can be part of this contest. And we would really love to see some great new students take part in the contest this year. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Michelle. And for any of you that have high school students out there, this would be a great opportunity for them. At this time, I'd like to invite past President Tim Ryan to the podium for a quick update on polio. And this is in honor of this being World Immunization Week.
So you really think I'm going to do a quick update?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests. My job today is to introduce a short video. It's going to talk about immunization. It's going to talk about disease, kids, and polio. And I have some good news. This is the 114th day of the year, which we all know. And so far this year, we have 1 case of polio in the entire world. That's amazing. I don't want to beat it to death, but you guys have been involved in the eradication of polio for more than 40 years. I have no doubt that you'll continue this year and you'll see this to the end. And that is my quick update. Thank you.
There are 678,290,000-ish children under 5 around the world. But what's so important about being 5? A lot, it turns out. Children who survive to age 5 are twice as likely to reach adulthood. That's why vaccines for young children matter so much. In the last 40 years, global public health infrastructure has reached children here, and here, and even here. Impressive, right? But 12.5 million children in the world are still totally unvaccinated. They're called zero-dose children. Some of these kids are hard to reach because they're living in conflict zones or remote villages. But some aren't that far away, living in dense, low-income urban centres. Essentially, they could be anywhere. Can we really find them? Absolutely. India proved it could be done. In 2009, nearly a third of Indian children under 2 years old were zero-dose children. That year alone, there were 741 reported cases of polio, more than any other country in the world. But with just 1 year of vaccination campaigns that included special strategies to reach zero-dose children, they reduced that number to 42 cases. But how? Well, in some places, vaccinators look for families at bus and train stations. Others use motorbikes or trekked by foot to find children in the most remote regions. And to tackle 107 city blocks identified as high risk, vaccinators travelled house to house, delivering immunisations for polio and other preventable diseases. Doing this required 4 million vaccine carriers, 5 million vaccinators, 344 million children vaccinated, and 450 million doses of polio vaccine. See? It can be done, and the results are worth it. Let's make sure all children grow up healthy and vaccinated against preventable diseases, and ensure that zero-dose children are a thing of the past.
Thank you for that quick update, Tim, and for Cindy Kerr for sharing this great video with us. Now, I'd like to ask Mary Mancini to come to the podium to introduce our guest speaker today, Dr. Romules Durant.
It's days like this that I'm really proud to be a Rotarian, let me tell you. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Romules Durant, Superintendent of Toledo Public Schools, Superintendent of Public Schools and an active member of the Rotary Club of Toledo, to be our speaker today. Dr. Durant has been the leader of TPS for 10 years, implementing programs that have changed and strengthened the system, and he is here today to share the TPS story. And on a more personal note, he shares that his #1 goal for today's students in the TPS system is the same as he had for himself when he was a student at Wade High School: to rise up from modest means to achieve success, first in school and then in life. I think I am correct that this will be his 3rd presentation to our club. During his first presentation, his enthusiasm for TPS was very evident, so much so that he commandeered a large cloth napkin to use as a preacher's towel. The second time he spoke, we were prepared and presented him with his very own monogrammed preacher's towel, and I'm sure he'll use it again today. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a warm Rotary welcome for the Superintendent of Toledo Public Schools, Dr. Romules Durant.
We might need this today. Again, in regard to, thank you, Mrs. Mancini, one of the most thoughtful gifts I've ever received in regards to, one, not only just bringing a towel, but customizing it with my initials as well as the logo of TPS Proud. But more important, I'd like to think in essence that in leaving a speech, the following year, it was the message that got you. But I guess, lo and behold, with the sweat that she ended up signing on to and remembering from that speech back then. But again, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here before you today in regard to representing Rotary as a member for 10 years, as well as the superintendent here in TPS. And it brings about in regard to great excitement to speak about all the advancements that we went as a district. Our partnership, as well as providing opportunity, in the most part, are second to none within the state of Ohio, as well as leading the nation in regard to truly transforming a district into industry providing opportunity for kids. Again, it's a great excitement because I want to make sure that I acknowledge, again, a couple in the room. I want to acknowledge our Board of Education, Mrs. Varwig, along with Pastor Parker, who are both here. Understand that none of this work can happen without board support. In regard to coming up with ideas and concepts, and some people think big city thinking, that ultimately brings them into the Midwest of Toledo. And so through that support, as well as many of these visions do not get executed if you do not have a team that is there and making sure that the tasks are being held and accountable, but more importantly, progressing through. So I'm more than awesome and excited about the opportunities that we're going to talk about today. In regard to today, I'm going to take you on a field trip to be able to see the location. More importantly, visually see the intentionality about more than just textbooks, but hands-on learning, because these kids are working with multi-million-dollar equipment literally within their schools. At the same time, understand in regard to our intentionality of being connected with industry. What you'll find is at the end of the day, our traditional school sits in a neighborhood. What we've done is that in regard to, instead of trying to create relationship by the two entities coming together, we are going to take this school and put it on your campus. You got to see us every day. You got to work with us every day. And at the end of the day, it creates internships as well as employment in a relationship between the schools as well as the entity. So these have intentional efforts in regard to when these kids graduate at 18 years of age, they will have certification to industry. They will have associate degrees or even college credit to a bachelor's degree, but more importantly, at no cost to themselves. That in the day, we are taking taxpayers' dollars to pay for more than just a diploma. We should not just settle for a diploma for our children when there's opportunities that exist within your reach. So in regard to we talk about our magnet school concept, the first one we talk about the aerospace. Where is the best place to learn about aviation than the airport within itself? In regard to truly embracing the airplanes coming in and out periodically. More importantly, work with the 180th Fire Wing sitting right there on campus. Industry right on campus. And what we've done in regard to this space right here is truly built out in regard to putting a cafeteria so kids can watch the planes come in and out. You see, when you hear a plane, you pause and just wait. When they hear a plane, they try to describe what plane it is, the engine it is, in regard to the carburation system and everything else to it. Because these kids are passionate about aviation. So it makes sense for them to be on campus. This school is 150 yards off the tarmac. Again, truly embraced on the campus within itself. We have our own hangar garage. Understand, aviation existed in 1929 at Macomber Whitney. There are no planes in downtown Toledo, right? So it makes sense to take the kid to the airport. But more importantly, talk about the opportunities that these kids will achieve there. They walk out in multi-certification. Again, in regard to not going through all the certification, what I'm showing you is we create a business plan for each school to have a good sense of how this school is designed. It runs 9 through 12. The goal is to get it 7 through 12. Once we are opening up enough room, because there's a waiting list for the school. Aerospace and Natural Science Academy of Toledo has a waiting list on the agricultural side and the aviation side. We now have 2 campuses. Once that renovation is done, they will now go 7 through 12. Why is that a big deal? If you want females in the STEM field, you got to get to them at 4th and 5th grade. Let them make a decision in 6th grade. But if you wait to the 9th grade, they done lost sight of it. You want to get more minorities in different STEM fields and other fields, you got to get to them at the earlier age before social media gets to them in a way that discourages them elsewhere. So when you talk about the opportunities, these kids have hands-on $1 million equipment. This is the drone. They get first certified in FAA 107 drone certification. Take a look at this drone. This drone has infrared technology. It is saving lives of people and firefighters. We train the firefighters here in Toledo how to use this. Let's talk about it. When a fire happens, what do the children do? They hide. They go into beds, closets, or even in bathtubs. Firefighters, as well as themselves, have lost their lives trying to make this fine. What we show them is we drive the drone into the home. The drone detects the body temperature, gives information to the firefighters. They now go immediately to the location to save individuals, but more importantly, save themselves. Again, bringing great opportunity to one, not being certified, but two, the opportunity that exists within itself. Again, these kids just don't work on planes. They make sure that it meets the standard of qualification before it ever hits the plane itself. So again, this is how they test it in regard to the aviation aspect of the airframe certification. So our power plant. So again, drone technology, now they're getting to the power plant. Power plant is the combustion of the engine. You're talking about rocket scientists. Meaning kids truly understanding how this engine works. This is the partially rebuilt of one of the planes. So again, when I talk about airframe certification, that is the body of this plane. They're working to get the doors in. If you look closer, that is the avionic dashboard that they just removed. They will replace that and continue to rebuild the engine. At the same time, as the kids progress through, they work with the various difference of drones, as well as then the variations of different engines. So we expose them to the various manufacturers, so when they come into a plane, they have a good fundamental idea how to work on that plane. At the same time, these kids progress through. This is our hangar garage. You take a look, there you go, some of you Macomber graduates, still sitting there, the original Macomber, still sitting there. You can wake up better at night, you know, because we still got you in there. But at the end of the day, what we've done in essence, we have 4 airplanes that are our district, that these kids work with. Again, these aren't just old airplanes. We have our Light Sport, which is one of our brand new ones. They love this Leclerc because it has Lambo doors. At the same time, regardless of one of our older models that they'll continue to rebuild and take it out of circulation once it gets to that time of hours. But again, these kids are constantly working with these equipment. This young man signed a $60,000 employment job to Delta Airlines. We are one of 2 school districts in the country to have this relationship. One is in LaGuardia, New York, and the other one's right here in your backyard. They take the top 5 aviation mechanics right out of the school. American Airlines takes the top 5 pilots right out of the school. Literally, $60,000, 401k match, all paid holiday for this young man. But understand when you say, how did we identify the location? How do we identify what concept to build upon? It exists within this region. We want kids to be educated here, have high employability here, so they begin to want to live here. Meaning when this young man was offered a job, he was laid out a globe as well as a map and said, where in the world do you want to go? He was confused. He said, Delta has hangar garages in Africa, Australia. You pick where you want to go, we'll send you. Where do you think he wanted to stay? Right here, right? Because we had a Toledo Airport, we had Detroit Metro Airport, we had Metcalf Airport. His employability opportunity exists right here, which is an ROI for taxpayers. That's the ideology behind many of these school concepts. In regard to the avionics system, again, truly rebuilding the dashboard. This is the airframe certification. So when I talk about kids literally building from the wheels up, this is the skeletal frame to this airplane before they get into the actual layering of the plane within itself. Take a look at the engine block. They are truly rebuilding the engine block from the original aspects of it. But again, these kids are ultimately not only working with multi-million-dollar equipment, but building themselves. This young man right here, he hit a lot of media news. One, not only in regards to the school, but to the challenges he went through. Because he attended a private school and he's Jamaican. They wanted him to cut his Jamaican braids. Refused to do it. Told mom, let me have him. Brought him over to the school. This young man hosts all certification, drone, airframe, pilot. He got his pilot license at the age of 16. Understand, kids start taking pilot license lessons at the age of 15. They can do their first solo flight at the age of 16. You understand what I'm saying? That means your son and daughter taking off by themselves and they landing by themselves. If the landing gear ain't coming down, you might want to make sure you have insurance. No, what happens is they work with the avionics tower, and the avionics towers walk them through the process. So when the child says, hey, for whatever reason, the engine cut off, this is how you're going to navigate and land this plane because it's light, and you can just air wing it right into this location. But again, that's the aviation in regard to aspects. You say in regard to the best place to learn about the aviation is the airport. Where do you think the best place to learn about? Natural science, agriculture. Well, we have the #1 metro park system in the country. Why would we not embrace it by putting a high school in this location? For these kids to truly be immersed, not only aviation, but the natural science aspects of it. Some of you are familiar with Toledo. We have Reynolds Road right here as well as Bancroft. This is the entrance to the Botanical Garden. We put a STEM elementary school, science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine. These kids do project learning all throughout. Thank you to SSOE because they adopted this location. Because of that adoption and that relationship, they have now been designated by the state of Ohio as an actual STEM school, merely because of the relationship and the outcomes that they have achieved. But again, when you talk about where the high school is, right here, literally right next to the corporate offices, the Metro Park system, in the midst of the Botanical Garden, but at the end of the day, these kids are surrounded in regard to opportunity. We are literally rebuilding, in essence, of the school and renovation within itself. So when you talk about the school, we're adding 8 classrooms to the location. Again, these aren't programs that kids get bused from other areas to. These are schools that they take all their cores along with the career opportunities within it. So again, when you talk about the 8 classrooms that we have here, we have 2 barns, one from our animals as well as some for our other animals that we have that need to be separated out. We have 2 brand new greenhouses. as well as an enrichment space. Understand what that means when you talk about animal science enrichment space. What that is when the zoo brings in different reptiles and animals, they have to recreate the environmental factors for that animal to live. If not, fatality is high. So they recreated an enrichment space. So how do we use it? So what we do is, in one example, many of you have dogs that are genetically designed to do something. Shepherding is one. Some of you have shepherding dogs in your home and haven't shepherded anything, right? And at the end of the day, these dogs become depressed, and they will start tearing up your home. So what we do is we put the animal in the enrichment space, and then next we take 20 of our billy goats and put it in there with it. And what do you think the dog naturally starts doing? No different when you throw an animal in water, a baby in water, naturally it just genetically swims. This dog begins to move that billy goat around the cage. Then we put X's in the area for it to move it in other places. But again, what you see is that kid truly understanding genetic mindset of what animals and how they operate. When you talk about the opportunities within the space itself, take a look at here. This is fox, a white fox. Now, some of you know I'm born and raised on the east side. I haven't seen nothing more than a pit bull and a Rottweiler. This is the first time I've ever seen a fox. So I'm enamored by this fox. I want to learn more about the fox. When I learn more, I begin to realize what a science that's happening in this school. Then all the children's books started to make sense to me as an adult. So let's talk about this fox. A fox is a scavenger. It is always looking to try to find food. At the end of the day, take a look at the fox eyes. The adults are above. The fox eyes are on the hands. When it comes to people, where is the food source? The hands. The way we train the kids is you never not expose your hands. You never put them in your pocket when you walk into the enclosure, because the fox will become aggressive and potentially go for your pocket. So it's designed genetically to scavenger. Think about this. No wonder why the gingerbread man never had a chance. He was up against a fox that ultimately was genetically designed to come and eat him, correct? But as a child, if I don't understand why the fox is always the sneaky guy, I don't realize that the fox is genetically designed to be sneaky, but more importantly, finding sources to eat. We farm our own fish. Again, walleye, bass, perch, all these things get farmed within its location. We release it right out back in the creek, flows into out of a river, right into the Great Lakes. Again, trying to add to our natural resources. Let's talk about this. This is how we operate the facility with efficiency. Many of you have dogs and animals, and you say, Dr. Durant, it costs us a lot of money to have this dog or this cat. Well, we farm our own food source. So yes, these are nice, cute quails, but they also are a good source of meal for the snakes and our crocodiles, right? So take a look. This guy's got to eat. Our pythons, all the variations of snakes that we have, they have to eat. And so we use them in groom regards to not only mice, rats, as well as quails. 3 crocodiles. We are one of the few school districts in the country to have our own crocodiles. Yes, we have 3 crocodiles. Mrs. Binkley, if people aren't paying their membership, we have ways of persuasion. Just let me know. We got persuasive ways. But again, these are our 2 female crocodiles. As you go into this, the male. A learning lesson the kids are learning right now. They had just had 40 eggs that did not hatch and went dead. So they began to regroup, rethink what went wrong. They realized their incubation was not high enough. So they increased the temperature, then they started seeing hatching. Again, if we want to create opportunity for kids to go into zoology or natural science, we got to expose them to the various rigors of different opportunities. Here at the plant science program, again, aeroponics and hydroponics is a heavy predication of this school. Again, these kids seed it, grow it, and eat it within the location itself. They are truly providing opportunity to be able to grow their own resources, not relying on the food chain, but relying on themselves to truly understand how to go about doing so. We literally teach them how to grow bananas within the Midwest, literally by taking advantage of the greenhouse effect and having opportunity for kids to learn more than what they see in warmer states. Again, kids are exposed to the variations of different animals, but at the same time, this is the exterior renovation. By fall 2024, this is what the location will look like on its exterior. That's when we'll launch 7 through 12 for those kids to be there, because they now will have their own home location literally right on the campus within itself. So again, when you talk about opportunity within the workforce here in Toledo, they could go into zoology, one of the greatest zoos in Toledo, in the country. We have one of the best metro park systems in the world. And at the end of the day, we have a school that sits right on this campus to lend itself to industry for employment, truly making a difference between the connection of industries and schools. When you talk about the next opportunity in regard to, we are in the heart of advanced manufacturing, auto, glass. So what do you think we create? It's the engineering high school. This is the Toledo Technology Academy of Engineering. Again, some of you are familiar to it as Ode to Vilvis. Repurposing this space to provide more opportunity for kids in the field of engineering. So understand what we got right now. Thank you to Dr. Somerville here at Owens Community College, because this wing right here is now dedicated to Owens Community College. That is where they're going to have the associate degree to applied technologies, technical studies for advanced manufacturing. So these kids can get an associate degree literally right on the campus within the space of engineering, 18 years of age. We haven't even spoke about the certification. But the other thing, and take a look here, right next to the renovation of where Owens is going, we will now be one of the only in the state of Ohio to have a high school system that has advanced or electronic vehicle center. So again, we have just finalized and break ground this summer. This is the new addition to having an EV school center or center right here at the School of Engineering. So take a look here. This is the facility I just spoke about, Owens Community College, in regard to where they're operating. As I wrap around, this is the new facility that's being added onto it. Breaks ground be done by the fall of 2024. As I circle around, what you'll see is we created a glass corridor so kids can literally go from the college courses literally right into the field of study. So as you go through the glass corridor, there's the doors, walk straight down, and we immediately go right into the lobby. This is the lobby of the new EV Center. In regard to providing opportunity of kids learning all the variations of EV, we will now have electronic vehicle bays within the school. So thank you to Mr. Toddy, Union Labor of UAW, in assisting us with this, because we now have the ability to train not only our students to be prepared for industry, but UAW members who ultimately realize that combustible gas engine parts will no longer be in existence at some point. Somewhere they need to be trained. And so at the end of the day, as you can see, there's 6 bays, and here's the learning bay that the kids learn before they ever get out into the bay themselves. So again, in regard to providing this opportunity in regards to electronic vehicle, we recognize this is the coming age for our students. When you talk about, in essence, the opportunity and the business plan behind it, this runs 7th through 12th grade. We are the only engineering school in the country that runs 7th through 12th. We have a parent right now relocating from another state because she did her homework and did the research. And let us know when we did our own homework and realized, yes, we are the only one that offer for 7th through 12th. Why 7th? Just as I told you. If you want females and minorities in the engineering space, you got to get them at it earlier in elementary. So when they make a decision in 5th and 6th, they are still innocent in their thoughts and their ways about what they want to do. Understand in regard to outside electronic vehicles, as well as alternative energy, OSHA certification, these kids truly are certified in multiple aspects. What we do in essence, take them in regard to showing them, here are your course of study to graduate high school. But at the end of the day, here are the certification. They will get CNC, P, CAM, CAD, CNC mill, all the technology certification programs that are required to work in industry, they will have at 18 years of age, literally going into their junior year. How do we build these out? We start off freshmen, 7th and 8th, is preparing you for this. These kids are very high tech and advanced in coding, in regard to understanding the coding. So we expose them every year to a different level of rigor of mathematics and coding, literally starting their freshman year. So as you can see, they are already compiling debugging program. So when you update your phone on the app off your phone, these kids are creating that update. They are coding it in a way that your phone will be updating to efficiently run and effectively run. But at the same time, these kids learn the engineering aspect of coding within itself. So as you see, we methodically bring these kids understanding electronic vehicle as a fundamental focus of electronic, computer system, and manufacturing, all integrated to create this opportunity. And so these kids truly focus within that. They are very heavily advanced in manufacturing, as well as robotics. And as we get into the aspects of how they go about their recreational, yes, I got a championship ring of playing football. These kids got championship rings of robotics. And at the end of the day, they compete every year because we want to celebrate what they do. At the same time, making it extracurricular. Everyone's not game to play football and baseball and basketball, but they are game robotically to compete in ways that we have seen never before. As you're going to look at the opportunity, these kids have been building electronic vehicles since 2012. The black one is the fastest in Northwest Ohio, and the blue is the second fastest. Every kid is exposed to building these electronic vehicles, so they begin to understand the fundamental basis of them. At the same time we continue through, these schools truly have a huge difference and impact they have. Thank you to Marcy Captor, $1.2 million to be able to support the EV Center. This gentleman brought his Corvette that he converted all the way from California just for our kids to see it because he read the article in the newspaper. Here's the true aspect of what these kids all have to master by the time leaving the school. This is the robotic arm that these kids literally master in coding, because this is what's building the vehicles of today. And if some of you had just watched 3 weeks ago, McDonald's has launched its first restaurant that is all robotic arms. Meaning there's an arm putting the buns on, arm putting the patty on, arm putting the ketchup on, arm wrapping it up. And at the day, it's out the door. Again, the days of saying, what do you want to do, flip burgers the rest of your life? It's no longer a saying. We got robotics now flipping burgers. So you begin to see that someone had to be able to master this opportunity. So that's why these kids are all required to master in regards to robotic nature, because it's becoming a part of the manufacturing world. At the same time, at this school, over 40% achieved 18 college credits or more. One got the associate degree last year. We now, because we have the associate degree with Owen, we will now have many more kids getting an associate right at 18 years of age. This school requires 100% internship. 12% of them done a full year internship the whole year. 50% won, but 40% were employed immediately upon graduation. Again, in regards to the opportunities within itself. This just speaks to the competitiveness of the kid. In regards to gold and metal, Mechatronic is the key fundamental basis of EV. They have dominated that for the last 12 years. So again, we're excited in regard to what the kids are doing at the location, but at the same time, this has been ranked the #2 magnet high school in the state of Ohio. They are #2 in TTA of engineering. Thank you. You want to know who #1 is? Us again. Toledo Early College. Toledo Early College. Yeah. It's considered the #1 best magnet high school in the state of Ohio. And when you begin to talk about it, again, everything has a concept in regards to location. Aviation, airport, natural science, metro park. At the same time, where do you think we want the early college school to be at? The university. So it only makes sense to have this location at the University of Toledo. So if we take it to it, some of you, we just saw in the paper that we're making 2 purchases. One is the Driscoll Center. We have Toledo Early College High School now right here at the Driscoll Center. You pass by it every day. But the main thing is, take a look. These kids are on campus, but they off campus. They have their own independency and space, but at the same time, all their courses are literally right across the street for them to attend. So literally within minutes within itself. At the same time, when you talk about the opportunities that exist at the school, you come to the school to achieve no less than an associate degree or more. So take a look in regards to these kids have 8 different variations of the associate degree they can achieve, as well as college credit towards a bachelor's degree in engineering, education, honors college, as well as college of pharmacy. These kids are achieving all this at no cost. Again, when I talk about certification, when you become an adult, there's a cost to that now. When I talk about college credit, when you become an adult, there's a cost to that now. But when you're in TPS, we're able to make sure that you methodically go through the process to be able to achieve both, because it gives you not only an academic advantage, but a financial advantage. Because we're going to get into the spaces about how things have come so far in regard to college debt. 1, the school is the #1 in the state. 2, it was rewarded and acknowledged in a national magazine. 1, over half of the student population is minority, 60% free and reduced lunch, but 95% achieve a 3.46 or higher GPA at the university. Truly, in essence, changing the paradigm for kids of poverty. Take a look at this. This is the big one. Since 1980 up until present day, this yellow axis is the amount of increase of salaries between graduate to the age of 27. This right here is the cost of tuition from that point in time. Meaning that people and parents and children aren't taking advantage of the financial opportunities within the scope of what we're providing or schools are providing in high school. We are setting our kids up for failure that ultimately they will become enslaved to a debt that they will never be able to overcome until they achieve certain finances. Take a look at this young lady. Her name is Debbie. This one reached national news. She took a loan for $26,000. She paid 16 years on it. $38,000 over the 16 years. She still owed $23,000 on the loan. Meaning she will be enslaved to this until she either gets another job, more income, but at the end of the day, all she could pay is the interest. Again, this is why the financial advantage makes a difference. Take a look at the schools within itself. Around 70% of the kids achieve 55 college credits or more at no cost to them. 90% will get 40 college credits or more, again, at no cost to them. Last year's graduating class had 55% of their graduating class achieved an associate degree. This year will be even larger. Again, at no cost to themselves, truly making themselves more marketable and competitive at an 18 years of age. Again, Toledo Early College is a great opportunity that exists within the TPS. Again, another magnet school that sits literally right within itself. At the same time, the #1 employment agency in Northwest Ohio is medical. ProMedica, Mercy, NHA, all these opportunities exist within itself. So again, when kids start off, the first day will start off, they will start the pre-med literally right there at the campus of Toledo Technology Academy of Learning. So what we've done is right here at this wing, their freshman year is where they start their learning. They will eventually white coat out into the hospital, meaning their junior and senior year, they will spend at the hospital within itself. So we are collaborating with two agencies, the big one that we're working on right now, and thank you to Mercy, because we are doing walkthroughs in regard to truly getting to explore the opportunity. Meaning their junior and senior year, they will spend the entire year within the campus of the hospital. This is now where they transition and all their courses happen. All their experiential learning happen. So at the end of the day, they truly are exposed to the industry. They understand the culture. They learn the culture during the process of learning. But more importantly, you say, well, how are we better connecting the kids? Well, guess what? What do you think their school uniforms are? They're wearing scrubs. So again, these kids wear scrubs at the school uniform. Does anybody know what the #1 shoe that's worn in the hospital? Anybody? Crocs. They got their own customized Crocs, too. Do you understand that? Toledo, the Pre-Med Health and Science Academy Crocs. Even the MDs are envy. But at the end of the day, if we want these kids to feel a part of the culture, we got to make them feel just a part by why wearing the uniforms of the scrubs, the shoes on their feet, that they truly feel like they are working their way into accomplishing the opportunities that exist. But within that space, again, these three are looking to be plastic surgeon. This young lady's looking to go into nursing. She's still undecided. But again, the opportunities in the pre-med space is cost saving. Let me speak to that in essence. It's going to save you anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000 literally coming to the school. Think about it, run 9 through 12. Once we're able to get into our expanded space, we will now run it to 7 through 12. So when you look at the opportunities that exist within a space, you come to the school to achieve no less than certifications and an associate degree. You are on the path to achieve a 4-year degree. So how does this work? At the end of the day, when these kids come in, before they even start one day of their freshman year, they get bussed off to Owens Community College. Owen provides the CPR training and stop the bleeding. 2 certifications, they hadn't even started school. So they already ahead of the average 14, 15-year-old. Then when they get into their junior year, that's when the rubber meets the road. Do you want your associate 2-year or do you want the 4-year degree? Because we've already laid the tracks out for you. If they choose to get an associate degree, that's when they stack more credentials. So then they have to stack STNA certification on top of the 2 they already have. Then they go into phlebotomy or pharmacy tech to add to the certification they currently just achieved. But at the same time, these kids get the associate degree in biomedical engineer or the medical health profession. If they choose, they want to go into the 4-year degree. They could go into pre-nursing, pre-med, pre-biomedical engineer, as well as the health career pathway. So let's talk about this. If your child is becoming an MD, they are a pre-med student within the junior year of their high school year. They are now have achieved 2 years of their pre-med certificate, pre-med degree. Mercy has been grateful, and others have decided, well, let's provide presidential scholarship, meaning if they achieve a certain GPA, they can get those final 2 years for free. That is a pre-med degree at no cost to them. At the same time, in regard to working out language to potentially have the MCAT weighed, but those things are conversation. But at the same time, you can see the financial advantages. So the gentleman, when I presented to the Medical Association, they said, Dr. Durant, my son, we sent to a private school. We spent about $50,000. Sending him for pre-med, he's at the University of Toledo, spent another $50,000. Right now, I got him tutoring from his MCAT, and I'm paying $20,000 for a tutor. You're telling me if we send a child to this school, that would have been for free? That's exactly what I'm telling you. At the end of the day, who is far in advantage of not only academically, but financially, or not leaving out with a wealth of debt behind their name? But again, these kids are required to go to the lecture. They're having the opportunity to be part of the surgeries that happen, that randomly happen as emergencies. But again, we built out the course of study for these kids in regard to what it takes to graduate. But if you can see, every year from their freshman year on, we expose them to the variations of the career field so they are prepared. Health science, principles of health science, as well as biomedical technology. We get them into terminology. Then we start getting into the junior year, and that's when they make that decision. But again, these kids don't have to figure it out. Mom and Dad, you don't have to figure it out because it's figured out for you, merely because of the relationship between the universities as well as the district. So again, in regard to truly having an impact in regard to the medical space, we ultimately started in our last magnet school that we created that exists, because all the ones that we talked about are in place. This last one is Jones Leadership Academy of Business. Again, a school that is fundamentally focused on understanding the finance aspect as well as the business aspects. When you talk about the opportunities and the certification, these kids go in regard to general certifications they have to achieve. They methodically work their way through Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and Adobe. What we make sure they focus on is mastering QuickBooks. You cannot flourish in business if you truly don't have a bottom line that continues to be profitable. So we again begin to show kids how to go about taking care of their books, developing their small business certification as well as their LLCs. And the last one is the Bloomberg certification. We are one of 2 school districts in the country. One is in Miami-Dade, Florida that I visited, and ourselves to have a Bloomberg financial lab. Again, these kids are exposed to the variations of stock market trade. So when we talk about it, we put ticker symbols throughout the entire school. Cafeteria, office, library, you name it, before they even get into the Bloomberg lab itself. Again, we want these kids to embrace the market, not fear the market. Many of us grown up in a working class household have been taught that market, you're going to lose your money. Well, if you don't understand the market, you shouldn't touch it. But we teach the kids how to embrace it so they can make decisions when they become adults, to how to go about finding equity in shares. At the end of the day, they cannot continue to work for money. They need to understand how money works for them, creating passive income in ways that is generated through LLCs, at the same time developing real estate investments that allow them to mitigate their taxation. These kids begin to be shown value systems that exist in homes that do not exist in many of the working class families. But again, if you truly want to overcome poverty, you truly got to be able to teach these kids. We can't just give you the fish. We got to give you the pole, the line, and all the other things that allows you to have wealth for not only yourself, but generations to come. So when you take a look at it, this is the Bloomberg Lab. Again, we have 12 computers that are immediate access to the New York Stock Exchange. Again, Michael Bloomberg and their foundation have paid for all 12 of these terminals to go immediately to Wall Street. But as you can see in regards to that, these kids embrace the market. At the same time, we have real estate, or I should say stock market ventures, who come and sponsor the school. This was an exciting time. Here's the stock market challenge in regards to the kids truly engaging in stock market. How many of you have ever seen Trading Places? Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy, oh yeah. That's what this room is like. The kids are engaged, sell, 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 buy, 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 truly engaging because they understood the concept that many have never learned to do. But again, we're excited because at the end of the day, these kids have opportunities that weren't afforded to them merely through their space and their home environment. So again, we talk about, in essence, the schools that we have in place. Aviation at the airport, natural science at Metro Park, engineering school at DeVilbiss, pre-med at not only DeVilbiss, but one of the hospitals. At the same time, we have our business academy. Here are 4 of the projecting magnet schools that we are going to be launching by 2025. By the time we get to 2025, we'll have 10 magnet high schools outside of what we currently have in regards to traditional high schools. Everyone's aware of the Wake, the Bowser, the Scott. Those are our big 6. Then there's the 6 that we just showed you, and then the ones that are coming to be. So when you talk about what are the opportunities, again, the number 3 employment agency in this region is education. So we created, it only makes sense to create an educator academy. So what we're going to do is take it to the Scott Park campus. So if you saw in regard to Scott Park, many of you have seen the district is working with University of Toledo to finish out the contract for this. Understand, we will have this entire campus. We are looking to put 3 magnet high schools on this campus. There will be well over 1,000 kids who will roam this campus in variations of their interest. 2 of the locations, one will be the Educator Academy. So again, we need to be a succession plan to our own industry. But more importantly, this industry provides high employability to the students within this region. So when you talk about the advantages of the Educator Academy, it truly makes me want to go right back and get my education certification all over again. Because again, take a look what these kids achieve at 20 years of age. 20 years of age, they will have operated as a pair for 2 years. We will hire them immediately right out of high school. So now they got 2 years. Why is that an advantage? So when we hire them as teachers, they start off at 2 years seniority and they're paid. They will achieve 60 college credits with the district at no cost to them. At the same time, working with the university as well as the Brady Foundation and how to go about leveraging and paying for the other 60 college credits in regard to scholarshiping those students to be able to achieve a 4-year degree at no cost. At the same time, these kids are required to do 20 hours of volunteer, 25 hours of paid tutoring, 60 hours of college credit or student teaching. Again, not student teaching at the university. They're going to spend their junior and senior year doing student teaching with the district. All the teacher planning, lesson planning is done with the students each and every day. So the kids are part of their learning, but part of their learning to not only be a student, but more importantly, be a teacher within themselves. Then the kids will graduate and go on to college. Method teaching, student teaching. Again, we continue to build out these business plans for each of these concepts. The next school that's going to be on there is the Construction Trade Academy. So again, the Construction Trade Academy, many people say, hey, Macomber Whitney, in regard to its opportunity and afforded to the construction industry. We have worked with all 16 trade unions to come with a multi-tier curriculum. Again, I'll say this, we were able to get all 16 trade unions to agree to a multi-tier curriculum. Do you know what work it takes to get that to happen? Meaning one curriculum will reflect all 16 of them to advance into an apprenticeship. Again, we are excited about that opportunity because, again, appreciative to our union group because they were able to put aside some of the differences and say, hey, we need to do what's best for kids, and they did just that. Again, these kids will go through multi-certification programs, 7th through 12th grade. Again, safety, we will also we added a drone certification because if we want these kids to be master contractors, they got to be able to see things from an aerial view opposed to a blueprint. At the end of the day, these kids achieve no less than 7 college credits merely by going to school. But they can achieve much more if they choose to elect to add to their course of study. But what you see is that these schools are designed to have certification in industry as well as to college credit. Again, the way we lay these things out is, again, here's what it takes to graduate high school. We'll run you through that. But this is how we expose these kids to the variations of the trade union. 7th grade, they will do sustainable construction. 8th grade, architect and construction. 9th grade, carpentry, masonry. 10th grade, structural system, as well as plan reading, estimating. Then they go in 11th grade, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, residential, and then 12th grade is the big one in regard to heavy equipment operators. Again, these kids in the inner city have not been exposed in some of these things that a child who grew up in a rural county area have been exposed to. They got bobcats and tractors sitting in the backyard. These kids have not seen one. So what we do is we bring through this union group from out of Signet, Ohio, they bring a tractor and other different equipment for kids to spend an entire month on so they are prepared within industry. But again, that is the Educator Academy, Construction Trade Academy, all on the Scott Park campus. Some of the other ones that we're looking to design in regards to that, just to give you a quick showing, is in regard to one, we want to develop in regard to a marine biology program. What that means is that we're trying to take marine biology to the water lines. So if you take that Ottawa River, this is Ottawa River School. We would like to add a high school to this portion, develop this into docking space, working with the city to do this in regards to not only can the community kayak and other things, but the kids can do marine biology as well as get boating licenses merely because they're in the Point Place area as well as those kids who would choose to attend these schools. At the same time, one of the other schools that we're excited about to be able to have is having a discussion about developing a performing arts academy. So again, understanding all the variations of the art in regard to one, where do you think I'd want this school, right? It's one thing to put aerospace at the airport, natural science. Mr. Levine, I'm coming your way over there, buddy. I'm coming your way. But again, in regard to really taking advantage of the space of the Art Museum, in regard to all the opportunities that exist. One of the things that I tell people in regard to the benefits of being at the school, one, not only are you exposing to all the industry partners that exist on this campus, but two, the average child is going to go to school and say, yes, I go to the Art Museum for a field trip. But your children, this is their everyday reality. This is what they wake up every morning to and come to. That at the end of the day, the art world is every bit of what they are, just as much at the airport to an air aviation, natural science to the kids in those schools. Again, wanting the art world to be everything and anything to them, just merely through exposure. One program that I want to make sure that I show you in essence is that we just finalized, thank you to the city of Toledo, because they approved our zoning. We now offer CDL licensee programs for kids at the age of 18. They will be able to get their CDL license. We are now redeveloping this entire campus, breaking ground, I believe, next week, in regard to kids to be able to get their CDL license literally within this area at 18 years of age. Meaning we are in a logistical hub of the world. And at the end of the day, these kids have employment opportunity to do just that merely at graduation. These kids will become bus drivers. And so again, they're going to graduate in the spring and bus drive in the fall. Now you can imagine how my board responded to that. Yeah, you can imagine. Now you know what my response was. Well, when you get on that airplane to fly out to Cancun, who you think working on that engine out the window, right? If that aviation kid talking about, hey, how you doing, Mr. Johnson? Remember that referral you wrote me? It's working. But again, in regard to truly having faith in our kids and the generations that come, because they truly make a difference. One of the things that I'm going to highlight in regard to showing some of the things that are exciting about the district in regard to the impact it has had, this is our 3E rate. So the 3E speak about in regard to employment, enlisting to the armed forces, as well as then those who are going to post-secondary education. So if you could take a look in regard to in the early stages, coming into TPS, we had 45% of our kids who were engaging in 3 of those. Meaning when they graduated, they were either enlisted, they were enrolled in post-secondary, or they went into the employment field. Take a look here, we are now at 96%. Understand what that means. Meaning 55% of our kids back in 2013 were relying on the system. Meaning they weren't contributing to the system, they were relying on the system because they weren't working. They weren't going to advanced opportunities. Now 96%, meaning we have 96% of the kids contributing, whether it's taxation, whether it's education, or serving our country in the armed forces, merely coming right out within the 6 months of high school and graduation. 50% of them choose to go within the college credit route. But again, truly providing opportunity within that space. Again, I have a true appreciation everyone's here. One of the things that I will show you at the end, and I show all the time, is that what I get is a lot of time people in the city of Toledo. Oh, I'm not sending my kid to TPS drinking that old TPS Kool-Aid, right? That old Kool-Aid. I'm not sending my kid to TPS. And I said, that's fine. The only one that's losing out is the opportunity, the advantage for your children and your grandchildren. I said, because what do these families know from all these different communities that you don't know, and they're taking advantage of these opportunities at these schools? I said, this parent right here, I know particularly drives from Findlay every day to this location in Toledo to be educated. This one comes from Defiance, Ohio, and has a friend that's coming along with them. But again, when you talk about it in essence, meaning these people know something, clearly they recognize that the academic advantage and the financial advantage give their child and their children an advantage for those at 18 years of age when they're sitting next to someone with just a diploma, and this child got 3 certifications, associate degree, or various other things. So again, truly in essence, in regard to the impact it has had, we've just been very excited. And again, I could tell you there's nothing brings me prouder today than to look in this room today. Because again, pre-pandemic, we loved it. Wall-to-wall individual, table to table. Is that when guest speakers used to come in, they were stage fright because they thought they were going to come into a regular Rotary room. But they came to Toledo, downtown Rotary. And they realized 200 people sitting in the room giving them stage fright merely because they didn't realize how connected we are as a business entity, as well as a connected community. I ask those in regard to who are current members to continue to be consistent in coming, because I always make sure this is an opportunity for me to connect on Mondays. But at the same time, those of you who are my guests who want to become part of downtown Rotary, I could tell you there's a law of degree in regard to 3-degree separation between Rotarians. Meaning there's nowhere, anywhere in this world that you can go to know that there's a connection through Rotary. And the story that the young lady told last week about a brother breaking his leg and not being able to have medical opportunity, and all it took was one call to Rotary to find them a doctor that could take care of the leg. Truly makes a difference. Again, I'm not only TPS proud, I'm downtown Rotary proud, and at the same time, I will always be Toledo proud. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being here today. Thank you, bless you. And again, let's keep it going. Thank you.
I know some of you may have to leave, but Dr. Durant is willing to stick around to take questions. I had a little plug I was going to do for Rotary, but he killed it, so I'm not going there. I just want to say it's so great to see all of you in the room today. Real quick, we have meetings coming up on May 1st is Law Day. We have Judge Suari up here giving us a presentation. May 8th, we are lucky to have Marcy Captor to be joining us, so be sure to mark your calendars. There's a few meetings today. I got to look at my list. Hold on. Peace committees in Summit A, vocational, and Summit B, and community services will be in here. But if you have the time to stick around and ask your questions, you can go to the floor mic, and we'll kind of keep this going.
Don't worry, I won't put anybody in the crocodile pit.
I would hope next week we could have a speaker with a little enthusiasm. And the other thing is, I was wondering, is there an age restriction to get back into school?
You know, and one of the things in regards to these magnet academies that I tell families, I said at the end of the day, this is how we were able to competitively compete, and we were able to get a bond rating improvement because they asked how we were going to compete in understanding the voucher system as well as in private schools. And when we presented these scenarios, they felt that it was very competitive. And so when I present to parents, I say, listen, understand these are public schools with private privileges. Your kids are going to compete to get in. They're going to compete to stay in. And mom and dad, you have high expectations of yourselves as well in regard to taking advantage of these opportunities. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Dr. Durant, thank you so much for helping. Really, you coordinated this whole meeting today pretty much, you and your staff. We'd like to give you this gift as a thank you, and we'll be making a donation to the Polio Plus Fund in your name. All right. Thank you, everyone. This meeting is adjourned. It was great.
How'd it go? Good?
Awesome. Oh, yeah. People, I mean, obviously, look at everyone really stuck around. So, yes. It's so impressive.